Hello there, Common Wolfram here. The number of gameplay changes needed in a Zelda sequel reusing the same open world while also expanding it with underground and sky sections is immense, demanding everything from changing enemy placements and enemy types, the way we use the Master Sword, new puzzles and dungeons, and a long list of side activities on top of a new quest. So in this video we'll go even deeper into what is about to change, and in return we just ask that you leave a like and subscribe as we're so close to 300,000 subscribers. Less than 2,000 left to go for my 30th birthday on June 13th. New ways to paraglide. Skydiving in all of its gameplay and pattern forms is awesome, but in order to land anywhere we need a new and enhanced paraglider. A tool that was only used for two purposes in Breath of the Wild, gliding and landing on the surface. In the sequel, however, it is clear that the new paraglider will also get a new gameplay purpose, namely as a tool of Sky Island navigation. Think how we traverse from Sky Island to Sky Island in Skyward Sword, only with far more islands filled with challenges and opportunities. The design of the new paraglider might bring a slower drop rate, meaning that we can glide further and perhaps even catch wind drifts, much like we could in certain sections of the Wind Waker with the Deku Leaf. And that is the thing about the new paraglider. It could offer far more wind-based puzzles, since in Breath of the Wild, the more simplified version was only fully utilized with wind currents for certain shrines and drafts in very few places outside the proximity of the spiritual dragons and a few minigames. All in the name of placing all updrift gameplay emphasis on revolving scale, which isn't bad, but is a power that is about to be replaced in the sequel, along with the other champion powers like Mipha's Grace, Daruk's Protection, and Urbosa's Fury. No doubt the Zelda team is preparing something with the change of the paraglider, including within minigames and other gameplay activities. Breath of the Wild had a nice variety of minigames ranging from traditional horse track obstacles to shield surfing, sand seal races, paragliding, on distance and through obstacles and rings, hunting, and even snow bowling. With that said, it is clear that the sequel, reusing the exact same open world, cannot have the exact same minigames in the exact same spots, all in the name of making the sequel stand out from the original game and offer a fresh and new sense of discovery. The surface already needs new content, as the underground Sheikah shrines are already gone, so no doubt we need new points of interest not only in the sky and underground. If we are to do the exact same thing in the exact same locations which we have already mastered, then what is the point of having these attractions in the sequel? We already know how to win them, and thus a replacement is not only preferable, but the more we look at it, mandatory. Naturally, there will be new types of minigames and gameplay activities in the sky, most likely involving skydiving and paragliding, but these should not justify bringing back the exact same minigames from Breath of the Wild on the surface. This might sound trivial, but it isn't, since new minigames in new locations are key to make this game stand on its own, specifically when it comes to more light-hearted content, standing in contrast with debuting darker elements such as placement of new enemies, side quests, and so on. Let's not forget, the Breath of the Wild games are open world titles first and Zelda games second, so we need our new fill of minigames and open world activities after playing through the ones found in Breath of the Wild for 6 years. And since we're on the subject of time travel. Yes, this is a highly speculated and theorized one, but which has in truth already been hinted towards through the Hand of Time and its already confirmed time reversal ability. Though nothing changes the gameplay as much as altering its setting based on the age and time of our surroundings. Twilight Princess did this brilliantly with the Temple of Time, but it paled in comparison to how efficient the real-time effects were in Skyward Sword's timeshift stones. Hitting the stones not only turned back time to the good old days, but also revived long-gone enemies. And I do believe that the Zelda team wants to have it just as brilliant mechanic in this game after delivering so many brilliant brand new gameplay solutions in Breath of the Wild. Well, that and revisiting Skyward Sword in 2021. A seamless duality that will expand on what was introduced in Skyward Sword's most brilliant province, Lanayru, but in an entire realm without any loading screens but instant transitions. Bringing back the power to turn back time to a greater and greater degree with the Hand of Time, the further we upgrade it, until we perhaps can jump between time periods and recruit the links of the past to join us, gift us, or at least teach us. Not as spirits, but back when they were alive. There are so many ways to do this, from the Hand of Time to the Gate of Time with its 12 time slots which is hinted towards in Hyrule Castle, even the Master Sword which has in the past been used to travel between two different time periods. All to revive one of Zelda's greatest gameplay concept, time travel, which producer Eiji Aonuma and director Hidemaru Fujibayashi played heavily with in the first Zelda projects, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Oracle of Ages. Think that we jump through time, but in order to get there, we still need to complete certain trials first, which brings us over to another very likely gameplay change. and it ties to mini-dungeons found both on the surface and in the sky. The mini-dungeons of Breath of the Wild were underground with entrances from the surface, but the sequel can make it far more seamless. Say, have a Zonai spirit in the sky meeting us at an island and say that you can either progress on your journey or take this detour to a different island and have your courage tested and rewarded. It doesn't have to be 120 just like in the case of the Sheikah shrines, but say 70, while still having around 7 dungeons, not counting Hyrule Castle, would be perfect. All there to unlock new abilities, or at the very least offer Link once again the means to increase his health and stamina if the latter one returns in the sequel, giving us a possible trinity of task givers in this sequel. Starting with Zonai spirits in this game's replacement of the shrines, which can be challenged for quick trial sessions. Then 4 dungeons of spirits of the ancestors of the champions replacing the divine beasts, and ultimately leading to the final 3 temples of the 3 golden goddesses, or alternatively the temples of Hylia. After all, the Zelda team knows that they need to step it a notch on every front with the sequel. Why? To justify reusing so many assets and characters. Something we have highlighted throughout this and multiple past videos. Since this game, just like Breath of the Wild, needs thousands of distractions, set in new locations from where they were found in Breath of the Wild. So far, the underground is the greatest gameplay mystery. The reason is simple. Outside of patterns, and this one gameplay scene of Link fighting an enemy that was not present in Breath of the Wild, with a weapon that was also not present in the same game, we are truly clueless as to how much of the action will take place down here. Much of it naturally depends on whether Princess Zelda is still alive after Ganondorf's underground earthquake caused her to fall deeper underground. Yes, the big question about playable Princess Zelda. And not only have her serve as a dead spirit voice guiding Link as a light in the sky, but possibly alive, switching gameplay roles with Link when he reaches these points of light. And I'm not talking about playing as her through substantial parts of the game, but rather that she conquers certain underground depths of demons, while Link is tested and look for solutions in the sky. Eventually with the result that the two are reunited on the surface, which is their home before the final battles for Hyrule against Ganondorf. I'm not talking about Zelda replacing Link for long, but rather to offer a break for a few minutes, with something completely different. Think Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which might have served as an experiment for making this transition between playable characters work as seamlessly as possible, including for even more engaging storytelling. If the Zelda team can nail this balance of badass storytelling and gameplay between Link and Zelda, then this game might be something truly special. And be completely in line with one thing, challenging conventions. The entire premise of Breath of the Wild, which the Zelda team has proclaimed since the first tease of the game in January 2013. A change which can truly elevate the story and gameplay of the game and make us far more attached to the princess. After all, the two started this quest together on the mounts towards the darkness of the underground. Which brings us over to our final and almost certain to be in the game point which ties to both Link and Zelda. Gameplay related changes to new wildlife and rideable mounts. In Breath of the Wild you could only register and pamper horse breeds, but you could also ride stall horses, deers, bears and even the Lord of the Mountain. Now it is uncertain if the Lord will return in the sequel since he was a clear homage to former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata, who was still alive when Breath of the Wild started development and even when it was delayed for the first time. But we have already seen these creatures which Link and Zelda ride together on towards Ganondorf up to this broken bridge. So clearly, together with the rats living underground, they are a sign of expanded and new fauna for organic life. Which also suggests that we will see more wildlife on the surface and completely new species in the sky. Specifically birds which didn't have a substantial variety in Breath of the Wild. But with a sequel set in large parts in the sky, it is obvious that we need bird-like creatures, since what else would live up here? That is the big mystery, isn't it? But on Breath of the Wild's surface, you were limited to either watch animals, hunt and then eat them, ride them, or interact with them. Sadly, not by petting, and that has to be the last thing we bring up in this video. Link petting the doggos like Zelda in that one DLC cutscene. Perhaps also adding some cats to hunt malice rats, parrots who can repeat Link's grunts, monkey in the jungle, and so on. All potential enhanced or new animals that we could play with out in the wild. But why not also own them? And by that I mean bring them back to our home and lawn in Hateno Village. Fighting corrupted wildlife on the ground, being a pet owner on the surface while flying on perhaps even a loftwing in the sky. That would be beyond a leap from Breath of the Wild's wildlife. And I will stop right there before we dream our way too far into Dreamland, even though Kirby was present in Link's Awakening, well at least sort of. But what do you think of the need for new gameplay placements, replacements, additions and changes in Zelda Breath of the Wild 2? We want to hear your ideas and the best of them will be selected for future videos like this one, with a shout out to you for suggesting. Though keep in mind that we will most likely wait with the next part until after my 30th birthday due to a summer direct. or that one in the video in the end card. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the Commonwealth Realm as we're closing in on the final 1000 subscribers to 300,000 on my 30th birthday on June 13th. So let's get there by then. Last but definitely not least, a big thanks to all of you watching and to our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons, and in particular our royal producer Charles Shesh. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.